I'm sorry, ma'am, but this room is reserved for VIP patients only. The nurse's voice was polite but cold, the kind of tone that didn't recognize grief, only policy. To her, this was routine. A name on a chart. A room reassignment. Nothing more. But to Margaret Ellison, it wasn't just a room. It was sacred ground. She stood in the hallway outside room 412, holding a small paper bag to her chest. Her hands trembled. Her shoulders stooped slightly from age, but her presence was unmistakably graceful, like someone who'd spent a lifetime choosing kindness over complaint. Her eyes lifted to the gold plaque beside the door. Room 412, Dr. Noah Thomas Ellison, M.D. Her son. Her only child. Gone 3 years now, and yet, she still came every month. Always with warm cookies. Always quietly. But this was my son's room, she said, voice soft, eyes searching the nurse's face. He died here. He was a doctor. A good one. He gave his life in this room. There's been a reassignment, the nurse said, without a flicker of recognition. It's now reserved for VIP patients. Someone important needs it. I'm sorry. Margaret blinked slowly. The bag in her hands felt heavier now. Oatmeal raisin, Noah's favorite. She always left them for the nurses and young residents. A small gesture. A tradition. A man in a designer suit walked past her and into the room without so much as a glance. His shoes squeaked on the tile. His voice could be heard laughing into a phone call. He didn't even look at the plaque. Margaret stood still. Her son had died in that room, trying to revive a 6-year-old girl after a failed heart transplant. They said he worked 36 hours straight before collapsing. He never came home. She turned, quietly, without raising her voice. No one noticed as she walked down the hall toward the elevator. No one stopped her. No one remembered him. But the walls of that hospital did. And so did the floor beneath her feet. The hospital lobby was bright but impersonal, all polished tile and murmured announcements. Margaret Ellison sat in a quiet corner near the windows, hands still wrapped around the paper bag. She looked out onto the street. Buses passing. Teenagers laughing. A world that had long moved on from the name Noah Ellison. She closed her eyes and whispered, I'm sorry, Noah. I tried to sit with you today. Excuse me, ma'am, came a voice. She looked up. A young janitor stood nearby, mop in hand. Early 20s, gentle eyes, and a faded name tag that read James Carter, Facilities. Are you okay? He asked, not out of obligation, but something softer. Something real. She offered a small smile. I'm just visiting my son. Or, I was. They said I can't anymore. James tilted his head. Who's your son? Noah. Dr. Noah Thomas Ellison. James's eyes widened. Dr. Noah Ellison? The Noah Ellison? She nodded, confused. He stepped forward. Ma'am, he saved my sister. 8 years ago. She had a heart defect. No one thought she'd survive. Your son, he wouldn't give up. He sat with her every day. Talked to her like she was the only patient in the world. He even helped my mom get a second job at the hospital cafeteria. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. He never told me. James smiled. He probably didn't think it was a big deal. But to us, it was everything. My sister's 17 now. She plays violin. Wants to be a doctor, because of him. Margaret clutched the bag tighter. They gave away his room. Like he never mattered. James's smile faded. His jaw set. Wait here. And with that, he turned and hurried down the hall, not as a janitor, but as a young man on a mission. Back on the 4th floor, tension gripped the nurse's station. What's going on? Came a sharp voice. Dr. Omar Reyes, chief of surgery, stood at the desk. His white coat was pristine, but his eyes were anything but calm. Sir, we reassigned room 412 to one of our major donors. The previous reservation. You mean you kicked Margaret Ellison out of her son's room? The nurse paused. Yes, but... Dr. Reyes held up a hand. No buts. Let me tell you something. Dr. Noah Thomas Ellison was not just a surgeon. He was the soul of this hospital. He worked longer shifts than anyone. He operated during power outages. He once spent his entire Christmas delivering food to patients who had no family. He collapsed in that room, Reyes continued, his voice cracking. Because he refused to leave a dying child. And that woman, his mother, comes every month. Not for attention. Not for pity. She comes because she remembers him when the rest of us forget. Silence followed. And then Dr. Reyes turned on his heel and strode toward the elevator. Down in the lobby, Margaret Ellison was still seated, hands folded quietly, eyes watching the light fade through the glass. He approached slowly. Mrs. Ellison, he said softly. She turned. He knelt beside her chair. I want to apologize, he said. On behalf of this entire hospital. We were wrong to ever let someone else take that room. And we've fixed it. She blinked, confused. You don't have to. We do, he said. Please, come with me. Together, they returned to the 4th floor. As they walked down the hall, nurses stepped aside. Young residents bowed their heads. Even the man who had taken the room stood quietly in the hallway, suit jacket folded over his arm, eyes lowered in shame. The gold plaque now read, Dr. Noah Thomas Ellison Memorial Suite. This room is permanently reserved in honor of his service, and for his mother, Margaret Ellison. Inside, her favorite chair had been returned. A new quilt lay folded beside it. A photo of Noah, smiling, arms crossed in his white coat, sat on the desk. Beneath it, a note in fresh ink. You raised a hero. This room is his. And always yours. Or. Margaret sat slowly, placing the bag of cookies on the table like she had so many times before. The janitor, James Carter, returned with his sister. She wore a red ribbon in her hair and carried a violin case. In the hallway outside, she began to play. Soft, slow notes. The sound drifted into the room like sunlight. And for the first time in 3 years, Margaret Ellison closed her eyes and smiled. If this story touched your heart, let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Tap that like button, subscribe to the channel, and type honor below to recognize the quiet heroes who live on through kindness, memory, and love.